Hi guys, so in this video we will look at another sustainable way to develop the rainforest for agriculture. We already know that if you chop down the rainforest to make large fields to grow crops, it totally destroys the water cycle. It totally destroys the nutrient cycle. You will have soil erosion and no biodiversity. There will be no natural habitat or species. One solution is agroforestry. Agroforestry is growing crops in the rainforest. If your land is already cleared, you plant trees. You then plant crops around these trees. Wherever you can, you should use rainforest that has already been chopped down. But sometimes this is not always possible. So in this case, you would chop down some of the trees, maybe 20% of the trees. This will let some sunlight through to the ground. In these new spaces, you then grow food crops. Of course, it will be a very good idea if you keep the useful natural trees, trees that have fruits or nuts that can be used for food. So here you can see in this picture that most of the trees are remaining. About 20% of the trees have been cut down. This allows space for crops to grow between the trees. This has many benefits. Have a think. If you only cut down 20% of the trees, do you think the water cycle would be, well, just about okay? How about the nutrient cycle? Do you think by cutting down just 20% of the trees, you would totally destroy these cycles, or they could carry on almost as good as if humans had not cut down some of the rainforest? So we have seen time and time again that if you cut down about 20% of the trees and then grow crops between the trees, you can be really successful. You can grow crops for food. Here we can see a diagram that suggests how you could set up your farm for agroforestry. You might want to look at this diagram in a little bit more detail and the annotations. This diagram is available in your information pack. So, we can see that agroforestry could be a way to sustainably develop the rainforest, to grow crops but maintain the water cycle and the nutrient cycle. So how exactly does this happen? Well, first of all, by having agroforestry, we don't need to use large numbers of chemical pesticides and fertilizers. Because we keep the rainforest natural nutrient cycle, we don't need to use these damaging fertilizers. The soil fertilizes itself. So, the solution to using the rainforest in a sustainable way is actually there and ready for us to use in nature. This is agroforestry. So let's have a think about the trees that are remaining. The trees that are remaining help to maintain the nutrient cycle. We know that as the leaves drop off the tree, they fall onto the ground. As the leaves of the tree on the ground rot, they provide nutrients. Some of these nutrients will be taken up by the trees, but some of these nutrients will be taken up by your crops that you're growing between the trees. In this way, the nutrient cycle is maintained. In addition, because you have left most of the trees are able to protect the delicate crops beneath them from the harsh sunshine. The fields remain nice and moist and the temperature is not too high. So agroforestry is a good way to grow crops in a rainforest without destroying the nutrient cycle, and without turning the rainforest into a hot, dry desert. We can also see that the trees have roots. and these roots help to hold the soil together. So, the soil between the crops is not washed away, because the large trees that you keep help to maintain the soil, hold the soil together, so there is limited soil erosion. So it's not perfect. You are to some extent, or to a small amount, affecting the environment. You are decreasing biodiversity. But as we've said before, we do have to develop the rainforest. People that are living there do need food, and they do need to earn money. So this is a compromise. While it's not ideal, it's better than cutting down the rainforest to make large fields. It is certainly better than having people starve and not being able to earn a living. But wait, agroforestry gets even better. You could also have fish ponds between the trees. This will provide fish and protein for the farmers. In addition, you can keep bees. Bees are very useful. Not only do they produce honey, which the farmer can use for his family and sell, but also the bees help to maintain biodiversity and pollinate your crops. Bees help to make a very healthy ecosystem, and they create honey. So we can see that agroforestry could, in some circumstances, be a way to develop the rainforest. Develop the rainforest in a sustainable way, a way that keeps most of the biodiversity and species, a way that keeps the nutrient cycle, a way that keeps the water cycle, and a way that stops erosion. Have a think if you think this is the best way to develop the rainforest in a sustainable way. There is a student information pack that accompanies this, and there are additional videos for you to watch about agroforestry. You will be given this information pack in your lesson.